Hello student, today's topic is politics of planned development. In this unit, we will study after the independence how the economic development was planned, how a planning commission body was formed for the economic development of the country. So, after the establishment of electoral government in 1951 election, the next thing to fix is the how we will plan the economy for a smooth economic development of the country. So there are a lot of initiatives taken by the government like green revolution, world revolution, a lot of reforms like land reforms were taken granted so that the country's economy can grow further. So in this unit we will study all these things. Now let's come to the first slide. The political contestation. What does it mean? The political contestation is when we planned economic development, there is a lot of challenges, there is a lot of ideological conflicts that had started. Different economy had debate on the economic development, political ideologies. There's a left wing and right wing. Left wing more focused on the poor classes, while the right wing more towards the economic and capitalist development of the country. So these are the clashes that started, and one thing is the weightage of interest. One social class against the another was also an issue, like how we will plan this economical development. Like if it not planned well, that present generation could plan an economy that was against the future generation. So these all the such issue was started, and how we will plan this economy in point of view of environment also, that how if we will do a mining that maybe it could cause the environment also. So there is a lot of question were started at that time. So this is what political contestation was. One incident that I have mentioned here, the Odisha village where protest against the MNC companies started, because in Bhubaneswar there where's the Korean company. A Korean company was granted a mining project. So the tribals was started agitation, protest against this mining company. So they had to withdraw that place from that places. So these are the conflict that started at that time, because any mining project or any mining project or other projects need to be led to the displacements of lot of tribals people. So they would lose their homes and livelihood and environmental fear of mining and industries. So all these led to the a new topic of discussion, and everyone wanted to agree that the development of India should be both economic growth, social and environmental justice should be also done to the all the section of people. Idea of development in India. What is the idea of development? As a welfare state, we want a development that is development for all. We want economic growth, social welfare, infrastructure development, technical advancement, and sustainable development. So all these things we wanted to be in one go. We wanted not to be compromised on the poor section for the welfare of upper class or capitalist class. So the first thing that started in the question is that the modernization process, as the Western countries was started, we would also go through the process of modernization, and that involved the breakdown of traditional social structure and the rise of capitalist and liberal classes. And it's also associated with the idea of growth, material progress, and scientific rationality. So these all talks that started at the time, but as a developing country, we also need to take care of the lower strata of the society, to the tribal people, to the poor classes. So we want a umbrella project that need to be addressed every needs of every society, and no one's leave behind another person. So these are the idea of development at that time. So for that matter, government of India, Mr. Our Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru adopted a planning commission. What is this? What does it means? So let me tell you the early initiative plannings. As this cartoon depict that people was sitting together and they're talking how lucky they are to have us planning for them. So these are the sarcastic that or you can say memes or cartoons that created at the time. So post independent we had a plan of planning economy. The Jawaharlal Nehru based on USSR model because he was so influenced by the socialist model when he went to Russia and seeing their economic growth. So he also on the basis of USSR he started planning commission where think tank and economic leaders and the economic expert were studied together and planned for the next 5 year of economy, and they will document and they will has a plan for all its income and expenditure for the next 5 years. And according to the budget of the central and the all state government is divided into two part. That one is called non-plan budget, that is spent on the draft of the first 5 year plan and the actual plan document released in 1951. So that's how a planning commission came into existence. So every section of society like academic, journalists, government and the normal people, everyone was so excited for this project, this planning commission. So the planning commission was came in 1951 and they formed the economy, that how much budget will be granted for this project or that project. So this is how a planning commission formed economic development of the country for next very large year until 2000, when later on when Niti Ayog replaced the planning commission very later in 2014-15. So the planning commission has a very long history and long time it worked for a country economic plan. So that's how planning commission came and started the country planning economy. Now let's come to the next slide, the first 5 year plan. So as I already told you that first 5 year plan was started in 1951 to 1956. So what does it aims? So as a newly independent country, we need to be more focused on agriculture development, because India had a past agricultural base and agriculture was more occupied more most of the people in this in the villages or cities, and agriculture base mostly 70 to 80% of the population at the time. And we also had a food crisis also. So first 5 year plan 1951 to 1956 based on the agricultural development, and KN Raja and a young economist involved in drafting this plan. So that's how first 5 year plan agrarian sector included investment, and it's also invested in dams, in irrigation project, agriculture sector, because these all things were very badly hit during the partition and needed an urgent attention. So huge amount of money were granted for large scale projects like Bhangra Nagalgram Dam. So this project was commissioned at the time. This plan also identified the pattern of land distribution in a country as the principal obstacle in the way of agricultural growth. That later on led to the land reform also, that I will teach you in next slide. So this is how the first year plans was started, and it was a pretty successful plan in early year, because at that time there was no economic roadmap for a country, and it's provided a direction to how we need to work in this field or that field in next year. And now let's come to the second 5 year plan. Second 5 year plan was started in 1956 and to the 1961, because these are the 5 year plans. Second 5 year plan was more focused on the heavy industry and the development of infrastructure with dams and power plants. So and because first 5 year plan more focused on agriculture, now next thing we need to develop for as being a developing economy or going towards the development of the country is infrastructure, because without any strong infrastructure base we cannot go towards the development. And PC Mahalanobis, as I attached here, is a scientist who was involved in this model. He was also called the architect of the second plant and the rapid industrialization. He had a very active role at that time, because he wanted to bring a quick structural transformation, although it can't be possible so quick because we had not that so much resources at that time. It was also called a socialist pattern of society as its goal. So the second 5 year plan's reflection of that also. Government imposed a lots of traffics on imports at the time to protect its domestic industries, helps both public and private sector to grow on a large scale. A lot of savings and investment were growing this period. New industries like railways, steel, machinery, communication also developed as a public sector at that. But however, there is a problem also because India was technologically very backward. We cannot impose such a high, heavy machinery plan and hope to be it successful, because we had to spend a lot of time and we had to spend a lot of money in foreign exchange to buy technology from the global market. And India, being a backward economy, backward technology, cannot be fully successful in just one go. And it's also criticized for being an urban bias. What is urban bias? Because some of the people criticize is because it's very urban bias, because it's more focused on machinery and development and no taking care of agricultural base also. So this is all one of the criticism of the second 5 year plan. So these are the things that are started with planning commission. And one thing were also started, that we need a decentralized planning also, because on a smaller scale we need a economy that can play important role in small arena, on small region also. So these 5 year plan later started being criticized for just being giving a very broad idea but not working on detailing model. So a lot of controversy started later on with these 5 year plans, that I will teach you in next slide. What are the things that need to be taken care of? The first is the public versus private and agriculture versus industry. As I also already told you, that India is an agricultural base. So there is a lot of conflict were started, because when planning commission more focusing on private sector, then public sector is started compromising. And state was a very important role. State played very important role in every year, and state controlled most of the important sector of economy. So public sector was in very large scale at the time. Public sector mostly controlled by the government, and private sector particularly in manufacturing, and they were not given such a large scale, such a large role to play. So this also led to a clashes between public and private sector. And the second thing is agricultural versus industries. India as an agricultural base always wanted to be more emphasized on agricultural development. Some of the economists like Gandhian economics, J.C. Kumarappa proposed an alternative blueprint that put greater emphasis on rural industrialization. Chaudhary Charan Singh, who made Bharatiya Lokdal, wanted more developments toward the agricultural. And he argued that the planning commission was leading to the creation of prosperity in urban and industrial section at the expenses of the farmers and rural population. So there was a clash started between agriculture and industry. You can take the example of first and second 5 year plan. During first 5 year plans, they had more emphasis on the agricultural development, and later in second 5 year plan more emphasis on the industrial heavy industries development. So there are clashes started. So these clashes later on government tried to resolve through taking care of both the sector, but it's not easily dissolved and remain in force. So these are the very first things that we need to think and taking care of. And now let's come to the next slide. What is the outcome? Economic planning outcome. So here one of the picture where Nehru, our Prime Minister Nehru ji, addressing the planning commission's members and staffs. What is the economic planning outcome? First thing is the India achieve a GDP growth of 10% and a population growth also. GDP growth reflects the economic growth of the country, because it shows that how much planning commission was successful at that time. A GDP growth of 10% also articulate that the planning commission given a direction to a country economy. And this 200 million population growth shows that, because India being a newly independent developing country, low developing country, we had a lot of disease issue, and for food scarcity we need to export food grains from the USA and other countries. So we are so dependent, but the economic growth led to a country reforms in every sector, like its health, food, medicine. So these all reflected in the population growth. Its successful reflects in population growth of the country. And urban population are also rising because a lot of industries were developed, new manufacturing sectors, iron, steel plants in different states, Jharkhand, Bhubaneswar, Kanpur mill was started. So these mills become a source of large number of employment, and this led to the prosperity of the urban class also. So this is how an economic planning led to the success for upcoming economy growth of the country. A lot of acknowledgement we can see in the agricultural also, because there also agricultural growth led to the food sufficiency. We don't need to be dependent on someone, and dams project like Bhagra Nagal and Hirakund for irrigation and power generation are also developed at that time. Some of the heavy industry in public sector, steel plants, oil refinery, manufacturing units, defense production, etc., were started during this period. So infrastructure project for transport communication was also improved these days. So some of these projects were coming to a lot of criticism also in point of view of environmental or displacements of large number of people, like during Satluj project or Bhagra Nagal project. A lot of people were displaced, and there was no much taking care of these people were done at the time. So these were all the issue were started, but these project was very profitable for the country. Even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru himself called the modern dam of India were like the temples. So this is how he shows the importance of dams by comparing it with the temple, Hindu temple. So these are the projects that led to the country growth and became a base for the country growth in upcoming future. So now come to the next topic, and now comes to the next thing is the environmental and the social impacts. We all know that the large number of projects, dam or mining projects, led to a question of in point of view of environmentalist also, because a lot of factories started at the time, or mining projects, not much taking care was done for in the view of environment. So it's also costed the environment. And the second thing is social inequality, because from the point if we start a mining project, like if Tisco or some other MNC start a mining project in any tribal area, so it's for development in the point of view of urban population, but in point of view of rural population or a tribal population, it's led them for the displacement or the loss of their livelihood. So it's not it's question the whole scenario, that how it's led to the social it's led to a social inequality, where one class gets all its benefit and other class was displaced from its own land, its motherland. So there is a question of social inequality was raised at that time. And the third is resource depletion. As a newly independent country, we need these resources, but what if these resources were depleted totally? Because one day these mining will end if we will mine again and again on same place. Steel mining, steel projects or coal mining, all these led to a depletion of water resources also. So there was no much taking care was done at the time for these things. So these are the impacts that was seen at the time after these industrial projects. Now next thing is what are the challenges and what are the reforms. Land reform, as I already told you, land reform was started because India as an agrarian sector, there is a lot of inequality in land, because land mostly was controlled by the higher class and lower class used to suffer. So land reform was started, and the abolition of colonial zamindari system was done. What is zamindari system? I hope you guys have studied in where is zamindar, some of the high landlord in any villages or area who control most of the lands, and other population used to pay revenue to these zamindars. So zamindar were the land holders of the area, and they had large amount of land in their control. But after the independence, Jawaharlal Nehru, being a socialist idea mindset personality, he abolished the colonial system of zamindari. This was a bold act because it not only released the land from the clutches of a class that had a little interest in agriculture, but it also reduced the capacity of landholders to dominate in politics. So, because with this land reform, zamindar holders also exercise their political interests and political rights. So, if they were taken, if their land were taken by the government, they cannot dominate the politics in such a way, or there is a upper ceiling or a limit that how much land one zamindar could own, led to the inequality in some way, and people with excess much agricultural land or one person could own these land were taken from him, and these land were distributed to the other landless peoples. So this is how this land reform was started, and it's led to a really a revolutionary change, because this zamindari system led to end the one of the foremost inequality in Indian agricultural society, because being a landholder was such a pride for them, and zamindar can use this pride for their own interest. So this land reform ended one of the social inequality in society. And the second thing is food crisis in 1960. What is food crisis? The agriculture situation was very worst in 1960s. The rate of growth of food grain production in 1950s and 60s barely staying above rate of population growth. Or there's a lot of natural calamity like droughts occurred in many parts of the country. So this leads to the famine, and we can witness in some area very lot of food crisis in many states. Like Bihar, there is a very high food crisis. Death rate in Bihar was very high at that time. So this was occurred because of food crisis, and there was no food sufficiency at that time. Or for wheat and rice, the prices in a state were twice or more than their price in more prosperous states like Punjab or Haryana, because if they are not hit by some droughts or natural calamity, their food prices were very high because of the high demand of food. So the government had to import wheat and accept the foreign aid. Mainly from USA we get food. Now these situation when hit, so now our priority was shifted towards the planning that how we can attain self-sufficiency in food. This entire planning process and a sense of optimism and a pride associated with it led to the agricultural reform that I will teach you in next slide. So this is how a food crisis started and needed a reform to not suffer in more upcoming year. So now let's come to the next slide. The Green Revolution. I'm telling you the Green Revolution because you know the importance of, I hope you guys are already studied it in your earlier classes, that how Green Revolution was very important and how this solves a very emerging issue of 1960s. So the prevailing food crisis, and the country was clearly vulnerable to the external pressure and dependent on food aid from mainly USA. So this turned a push towards the economy, self-sufficient economy in food grains. So this agricultural, so now we are started taking care of agricultural development like high yielded variety seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and better irrigation at a highly subsidized priced were guaranteed by the government. And the government also guaranteed to buy the produces of the farmer at a given price. So this was the beginning of what we called Green Revolution. But some of the issues were also in this Green Revolution. Although Green Revolution was a revolution because it's really helped in India's food sufficiency, but the benefit of Green Revolution mainly for the rich peasants and the large landholders. They were the major beneficiary of the process, because the Green Revolution delivered only a moderate agricultural growth, mainly rise in wheat production, and raised the availability of food in the country. But it also increased the polarization between classes and the region, because the green revolution mostly benefited for the region like Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP, and the region like Eastern UP, Bihar was not much benefited from this green revolution. And this is why it's called, it created a contrast in a society where a poor peasantry one side and the landlords produced condition for other side. So this all created a division in a society. So this is how green revolution started, and how some of the criticism of green revolution I'm telling you. So these are the things in green revolution. When the green revolution, there now these there was a demand of started of second green revolution, where more focus towards the uh, towards the towards the region who not getted much amount of attention in first green revolution, or high yielded variety seeds led to the pollution in soil, and led to the high pesticides were not sustainable. So now shift towards the organic farming, or natural farming. So these all things that started now, uh, not much important for the exam. Mainly thing is that what is green revolution and when it started, and what are the things that it's helped in growth. And the second thing is a white revolution. I hope you heard this before. The Varghese Kulian, who started this, also called a milkman of a country. Why milkman of the country? Because he played a very important role in increase the production of milk. In the Gujarat Cooperative Milk and Marketing Federation, Operation Flood was started to increase the milk production. Or maybe the question can frame like this: milk Operation Flood was related to which of the production? There may be the option of milk production, oil production, wheat production, or rice production. So this can also be framed. So Varghese Kulian, called Milkman of India, played a crucial role in the story of Gujarat Cooperative Milk and Marketing Federation, that who launched the Amul project, very famous. We all know Amul. So in 1970, the Rural Development Flood was started, and that organized a cooperative of milk. They are like cooperative of milk producer into a nationwide milk grid. Like all these were bodies were interconnected with each other, and with the purpose of increasing milk production, bringing a producer and consumer closer by eliminating the middleman. And however, not just a dairy plant, it saw dairying as a path of development for generating environment and income for the rural household. Because after agriculture, what next thing is like milk or through selling animals. So these are the secondary income sources. So this development and successful succession of this white revolution and milk production increase also help in elevating the poverty at that time, and the number of members of this cooperative continued to increase with the number of women members. So these women members were also leads to the women empowerment also. So now money will in hand of women, so this is also led to the women empowerment and their prosperity. So this is how white revolution related to milk not only elevated the milk production, but also it also empowered the women of the society, and helped in elevating the poverty at that time. And the next thing is the economic liberalization of 1991. You all know what is the economic crisis. I will teach you in upcoming classes that how economic liberalization was started, that led to the integration of India's economy with the world and created a global platform for India. So this is how India growth started with planning commission, or India became a developing country, and still keeping his journey ahead towards the developed economy. So this is all things that we learned today. Now let's come to the MCQ section, because most of the exam will based on it. Here are some of the MCQ I have framed for you, so you can solve these MCQ. like when was the planning commission of India established, and 5 year plans, about the 5 year plans, which 5 year plan based on which model. So these are the MCQ, you can check on your own. There are total 11 MCQs. There are other MCQs, you can use your NCRT book for that matter also. MCQ you can solve from your NCRT book also. So these are the question, and these are the things from my side. You should more focused on the fact based question, that how things started, when it started, what is the purpose, like first 5 year plan on which model, who framed it, second 5 year plan which model, and which year, from which year to which year this plan was started, what was the focus of 5 year plan, like agricultural development. Second 5 year plan more focused on industrial or heavy industries. So these are the things. Later on, as I already told, planning commission later replaced with Niti Aayog. So these are the things you need to more focus on, and this is all from my side. Okay.